Has changed you for the better?
Funny enough, my divorce. And it's not in the way you think it is. I was married for 15 years with the same person together for 19 throughout all my 20s and 30s and into my early 40s. She had an affair, but also we were just disconnecting after 20 plus years of being together. And through therapy and through the help of friends helping me, talking to me, giving me advice, also telling me when I was being an idiot, but the therapy and the friends allowed me through, it's been 2-3 years now, allowed me to see, what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong and how to become a better person.
Marriage only works when both people are genuinely committed. But these days, some women believe they can step away, do whatever they want, and then come back as if nothing happened. Today, we're looking at men who finally stood their ground when their wives stopped respecting the relationship. Subscribe, and let's get into it.
Titled, Am I the Asshole for Falling Out of Love with My Wife After She Took a 7-Week Vacation?
Oh.
I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, 30 female, for 4 years, and we've been together for 8. She's a stay-at-home mom. We have Irish twins, 1 female, 2 male, which have been incredibly taxing for my wife. She wanted a solo vacation break for a few weeks where she would travel to different states, visit her high school and college friends, go to concerts, and do a lot of fun stuff. She asked if I would be okay with it. I asked if she could make it a couple of weeks shorter because 7 weeks of managing our 2 children alone sounded really daunting, especially since work was also getting taxing recently. I do work remote, so at least that worked in my favor. My wife and I discussed for a couple of days, and I ultimately agreed with her that she did deserve a break because of what she has been through the past few years. And so she took her vacation. The first week managing our children alone was extremely difficult, and I did feel like I was losing my mind. But I survived. My sister came over to help me from the second week on. She was honestly a lifesaver, and I will be eternally grateful for her. I never directly asked her to help me, but I guess I did indirectly because when she video called me at the end of the first week, I basically broke down in tears. So from the second week on, my sister stayed over at my house to help with my children, and a huge burden had been lifted off of my shoulders. I was also really able to focus on work and meet my deadlines. To be brutally honest, I did not miss my wife at all. I was emotionally and mentally relaxed and also had a lot of fun with my children and my sister. I felt a sense of betrayal that my wife had actually gone through with the 7-week vacation. I slowly fell out of love with my wife. When she came back from her vacation, she was super refreshed and recharged, but to be honest, I was a bit indifferent. My wife tried to initiate the first night she came back, which I rejected because I said I wasn't feeling it. The subsequent days, I had the same level of indifference in our day-to-day life, and she probably noticed it, but didn't say anything. A week later, she asked me why I was acting like this, and I told her I don't love her anymore.
Ooh.
Wow. She apologized for taking the 7-week vacation and asked if there was anything we could do to fix it. I told her no. We pretty much went through the motions the next couple of weeks before I finally decided that I wanted a divorce. She seemed devastated when I brought up divorce, which surprised me because I had already told her I don't love her anymore. She asked if we could do couples therapy or marriage counseling first before I started looking for a divorce lawyer, and I told her I needed some time to think about it. I've spent a few days thinking about it, and I'm still leaning towards divorce because I basically don't love my wife anymore. I don't think marriage counseling can fix it. So, am I the asshole for falling out of love with my wife because she took a 7-week vacation?
If he's spending time with the kids without his wife, that alone should already be a warning sign for her. But honestly, why would someone need such a long break from both their husband and their children? A week or 2 is one thing, but 7 weeks is completely different. It really seems like she had other priorities.
Someone else and feel all these feelings, and perhaps you'll go into that relationship learning what you've learned from this relationship, and that will then feed that relationship in a different way. A friend of mine a year ago, maybe less, had his heart broken in the most brutal circumstances. It was his first love, first girlfriend, and they broke up, and he was just not in a good way. This was his first real proper serious girlfriend, certainly the first time he'd been in love before. I just found myself saying to him, I was like, this is great. This is great because you really only understand what love is once your heart's been broken. You understand how tender it is. And I was like, and you understand it now. You're looking at this all wrong. You get to do it again. You get to do this again. You're going to meet someone else and feel all these feelings. And perhaps you'll go into that relationship learning what you've learned from this relationship. And that will then feed that relationship in a different way. And he's just met someone, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
Got that balloon again.
Yeah. You're like, that's it. That's it. And so again, I think it's expectation is the thing that makes us hold on to stuff.
Yeah.
If you can just ebb and flow with stuff, you're going to find it so much easier to take the good, the bad, and the everything in between as just all being good for you.
The way he talks about heartbreak is surprisingly thoughtful. Not everyone will relate to it, but choosing to love again after being deeply hurt takes real courage. A lot of people never reach that point, even though sometimes it's the only way to genuinely move forward.
You have a partner who shows you contempt. As Dr. Gottman would say, there's a 99% likelihood you'll break up as a couple. Now, why is that? The reason why is because real contempt suggests that you are on a whole nother level than your partner. It's a level of disrespect. You're saying to your partner, you're no longer on my level. And you can see contempt show up in these small 6-second increments. You're watching a couple, I see it all the time. I see couples, arguing, and you see the eye roll, the look away, the look back. In just those moments, one partner is saying, you're not even on my level. Like, you shouldn't even be in my presence, right? When you see that level of disrespect coming from your partner, you know they don't respect you. They don't value you.
You see this all the time. A man is trying to explain how he feels, and instead of listening, she rolls her eyes. If she had taken the time to actually hear him out rather than dismissing him, maybe the relationship wouldn't have ended the way it did.
And when did your relationship with Mr. Davis begin?
I'd say the beginning of April 2022.
Okay. The beginning of April of 2022?
Yeah, I'd say like the first week or two of April.
Okay. And when did it end?
The very end of March of 2022.
And in early 2022, were you in a sexual relationship with someone other than Mr. Davis?
Yes, ma'am. A white man named Colin.
Okay. And what makes you think that the white man is not the father of the child?
The child is Mexican.
And is Mr. Jeffrey Davis
And
Mexican?
Yes, ma'am, he is. And I've already gotten in contact with the other party when I was still pregnant. I mean, his whole family, me, we all had a whole shindig about it.
Is she seriously admitting all of that publicly? Because it almost sounds like she's intentionally making herself look bad. Being committed to one person while having a child should never be treated so casually.
What do you do if a woman wants to take a break?
If a woman wants to take a break, assume you guys are broken up. I don't want you to be holding your breath and thinking like, oh, maybe if I do a bunch of things, I can win her back. Assume you guys are broken up. I'm not saying that you will never get back together. I'm saying that mentally you have to start the process of moving on at that point because she already has done that. So what you should do is you should make sure that you are in a good place. Make sure you're around loved ones, friends, all that stuff. Don't be running around and trying to sleep with every single woman during a break. That's not going to help you move on, and it's probably not going to reflect well on you in the future if you do get with somebody else, or even if you guys do get back together. So just assume that you guys are broken up. Assume it's done mentally, but don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be disappointed because it probably is going to happen.
That's actually good advice. A lot of men could benefit from hearing it. Sleeping around isn't what heals a broken heart. Taking time to reflect and work on yourself does. And honestly, if someone asks for a break, it's usually better to move on instead of dragging things out.
Break without a get back together date is a breakup. A break, like we're taking a break. All right, so I'm supposed to wait until you feel you are ready. What if after you're contemplating, you realize I'm not the person? What if you're contemplating takes 2 years? What if it takes 3 years? And at the end of that year, you don't choose me. If you feel like you can't do this right now, you feel like you need to break, take a break or break up. Okay, we're moving on from one another.
A woman who only dates someone because it's convenient isn't built for a lasting relationship. Saying you need a break to find yourself isn't how genuine commitment works.
Even breaks.
I think any form of a break is bullshit. Like, if you need to take a break from this person to either figure out how you feel or whatever, even if you get back from a trip and you're like, I need space from this person for a week, that's also a red flag, I think.
Right.
Like, people will reach out and they'll be like, I just went on like a vacation with my boyfriend and like we like needed like a week after to like be on our own. I'm like, but you're gonna live together one day.
Right. It's only gonna get more and more.
You need to love being with this person
Yeah.
all the time. Like when you come back from a trip with Cody, like aren't you like, oh my God, we're like more connected than ever. Like we have a million more inside jokes from the trip.
Totally.
You know?
And I'm like excited to do the things that we normally do at home together. Like just like watch TV or like cook or whatever
like
it is. Like I'm excited for being home with him just as much as I would be excited to like travel with him.
Totally.
Having some personal space can be healthy, but why would you need a break from the person you claim you want to spend the rest of your life with? Once a relationship reaches that point, it's usually heading in the wrong direction.
Your ex, using one word.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Oh my days. How was that relationship?
It was my first really long-term boyfriend. I broke up with him, so it was fine from my part. I think he struggled to get over it for a while, but I moved on pretty quickly, I think.
Why did you break up with him then? What happened ultimately?
We just didn't really match very well. Like our interests, our hobbies didn't quite align.
So what would you say is the biggest thing you learned from that relationship looking back?
It's not normal to be really unsure about your relationship for a long time. I was like thinking about breaking up for a really long time before I actually did it, and I think I should have just done it.
How comes you delayed, do you think?
Some like really big issues that happened in his life, and I just didn't want to add up with the breakup and like make his life any like worse.
Any regrets?
I broke up with him over the phone. That's my biggest regret. I think it's best to do it in person.
He was going through one of the hardest periods of his life, and instead of standing by him, she chose to slowly pull away. That doesn't sound like confusion. It sounds like giving up.
I've asked for a separation, then got mad when I dated other people. We were married to each other with my 32 male, wife 32 female for 5 years. However, she told me she fell out of love with me and was looking for something different last year. So even though I tried to convince her to stay, she decided to move forward and we were separated for a little over a year. She told me she wanted to try things out again, which I was content to. We started seeing a couples counselor next week with the intent of aligning our feelings and thoughts before moving in together again. One of the questions that was asked was if I've been in another relationship during the time or any other women. Counselor told us honesty is the way to go here, so I came clean. I actually had a go-to club, get drunk, sleep around phase for a few months and slept with 13 women in total. Now she thinks we cannot get back together, but I told her we were separated and in the divorce process back then. I think it's impossible to get back together now that I talked about my dating life during our separation, but I wonder if I was an a-hole for sleeping around when we were separated.
She walked away looking for something better, then became upset when he moved on too. The difference is that her new option didn't work out, so suddenly she wanted another chance. That's what happens when impulsive decisions eventually come back to haunt you.
Partner says that they need space. Here's what you need to do. I'm Stacey Bartley. I'm a relationship expert and I've helped more than 500 couples over the past 10 years. And this is what I've learned is that when a person says they need space, there's something that they're being honest about. And your lack of not giving them space will tend to make them feel suffocated and trapped in the relationship. Now, if this brings up a lot of insecurity within you, which oftentimes it can, we can go to places like, oh gosh, if they want space, this doesn't mean they love me. This doesn't mean, or this means that they don't want to be around me, etc. Just vet those things out. You know, when you ask me for space, this is where I go. I'm going to assume it's not true. Is it? Because if it is, let's talk about it now. And if it isn't, and you just need some space, I want you to know that it's more times than not about you and about their own need to recollect themselves, their own need to stop the emotional overwhelm and internal conflict that they're feeling inside of themselves. And as a human being, that's the only way we can accomplish that is by pulling away from all the stimulus, the needs and wants and desires that I'm desperately trying to please when it comes to loving the people around me. And I just need to take a break for a minute. That's what it means. And that's what I'm saying when I say I just need some space.
Nothing is more important in a relationship than honest communication. That's the foundation of everything. Taking a break might sound reasonable in theory, But most of the time, it just turns into a permanent breakup.
I told my husband of 15 years I want a divorce.
My first question would be, have they tried therapy together? It sounds like they haven't.
If he starts telling you he'll change or whatever, you tell him it's too late. You're beyond wanting to spend any time or money fixing the relationship. You're happier when he's gone and you're done.
That's so sad.
I feel like this is just so common that it's actually like frustrating to me. There needs to be more people that are speaking positively about marriage. Being single is hard. Being married has challenges.
Freaking life is hard,
Life
dude.
is hard.
Life is hard.
And you're not meant to do it alone. Like, obviously, there are really, really great, amazing reasons for being single in general. I'm so sick of the narrative that's like, girl, you leave him. You deserve better. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, wait a minute. Can we be a little self-reflective here? Let's quit going to this resort, because guess what? You're going to find yourself in another relationship where you're like, well, you know what? They're not perfect, so I'm going to move on again. I'm not saying there are horrible situations. It's like divorce is the only option for you. You have to do that. But it's just a really frustrating thing.
It doesn't even seem like she's gone to counseling with her husband. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't be asking strangers online how to save her marriage. Maybe it's genuine, maybe it's satire, but either way, some self-reflection would probably help.
Question from the Modern Divorce Support Group. I want to divorce my husband, but I don't have the money right now for a lawyer. I've been asking and practically begging him to leave the home. There is so much tension in the house. I don't think it's healthy for the kids or anyone really, and he refuses. He says no, he wants to stay in the house for the kids. Is there anything I can do to get him out, or do I have to wait until I can afford a divorce? Hello, my name is Billy Terrasio. This question is from the Modern Divorce Support Group over on Facebook. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and go over there and follow me here. You can't kick out a co-owner of their house because there's tension. You can leave, but you can't force them to leave. And in Arizona, where I practice, even filing for divorce isn't at all a guarantee that a judge is going to kick out the other person from their house. The only reason that somebody would be immediately removed from their home would be if they commit an act of domestic violence, and then you go get an order of protection or a protective order, whatever you call them in your state. In my state, it's a protective order, an order of protection. So if there's an act of domestic violence, then you can have somebody removed for your physical safety, but just because you're uncomfortable, and I don't want to diminish that discomfort. I know it's real, but your discomfort isn't legally a justification to.
Why does she automatically assume he's the one who has to move out? The house belongs to both of them. If she's the one who no longer wants to live together, maybe she should be the one to leave instead.
It's changed you for the better.
Funny enough, my divorce, and it's not in the way you think it is. I was married for 15 years with the same person together for 19 throughout all my 20s and 30s and into my early 40s. She had an affair, but also we were just disconnecting after 20 plus years of being together. It just allowed me to realize what was important to me. And through therapy and through the help of friends helping me, talking to me, giving me advice, also telling me when I was being an idiot, you know. I reacted very strongly. I let my emotions take over my thought process, but the therapy and the friends allowed me through, it's been 2-3 years now, allowed me to see, you know, what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong and how to become a better person.
I respect that he's able to admit where he made mistakes too, even though she was the one who had the affair. That kind of self-awareness will serve him well in the future. Huge respect for choosing the healthier path.
I don't know if I'm going to actually post this because this is super vulnerable for me and I'm a pretty open person. But earlier this year, I told my husband I wanted a divorce. And this would probably shock a lot of my friends and my family because I hadn't told anybody, okay? I walked myself through the logistics of where would I live, how would we split the time with the kids, who gets the dog, where all of those things, okay? Had a full breakdown. I feel like I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. Let me be very clear about that. He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet. And that is probably the reason why I have not left. Okay. Our relationship and what my expectations are for my marriage and what they always happen are not met, right? Which I don't know if anybody's are. The reason that pushed me to even bring up divorce and talk about it was the fact that I feel like I can't be myself with my husband. And it's really confusing because I'm 32 years old. I am a mom of 3, and I still don't know who I am.
Just listening to her tells you everything. She spends more time talking about herself than actually communicating with her husband. If she truly believes he's such a kind and wonderful man, then why is divorce even on her mind? Maybe it's time for some honest self-reflection. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content, and I'll see you in the next one.